Okay, so we're going into the deep, dark depths of what makes this particular radio a little different from the rest of the... Now, have a look at the slight look at the front. Yeah, give you a bit of an idea what it is, but this is how they did it. It's quite interesting. As you can see, the big heat sinking, dual final output, which will give you about 30 watts on this radio. So what radio are we looking at? I bet you my YouTube probably shows you one of the front. Anyway, we'll see what happens. But this is, and the reason I got the cover off this is some of the controls have been sitting around for a while, just a little bit scratchy, and I thought, let's give them a spray. It's always good to deox it bits and pieces. All right, you've seen inside it. Let's show you what it is. Okay, it's just giving you any idea of what radio this is. Yes, I bet you my title ends up telling you anyway. All right, this is the President Jackson, and this is one that once again, didn't see a lot of them in Australia. Saw a lot in the US for sure, and really nice layout. Another one we have to put on the analyzer because it doesn't quite meet the spec of FM was never allowed in Australia in 27 megs, and I'm only guessing A, B, C, D, E, F may not be to teach the alphabet. Anyway, good layout, mic gain, RF control, RF gain, control. Fine and coarse on your clarifier, which is nice. Just quite a nice option. Especially these tended to be units where they did transmit, receive, etc., the whole lot. Squelch, modulation, RFS meter, noise blanker, plus 10 kc for the gaps that sometimes were there. A good example of that would be channel 19. Now we've got one digit out on this one, so I've got displays for them, but we'll talk about that. But say channel 19, there was a gap 19 to 20. Of course, there was a gap 15 to 16 for 27145, 045 over here, 3 and 4, etc., etc. So that's what the idea was there. And yes, another one that's got the Roger beep, so a little bit like the previous version Grant that was a little bit special. I thought it was pretty apt that we do the two in a row, just to sort of show you, and PA position there for that squelch there. Okay, so let's go to channel 40, and and sorry, let me just point that out again. These display segments, you see them go 9 times out of 10. It's a display; it's not a pull-up resistor. I've got displays for these. It's not a difficult job to put one in there. Whether or not we'll get time, or whether the person who buys it ends up doing it, we'll see. We'll certainly offer it up, sort of as is, and see if someone wants to pay us to put a new display in it. Well, we'll see whether or not time's going to allow for that. But yes, this is another one that is for the collectors, in the fact that legally it cannot be used on CB radio. Unfortunately, it is just one of those things that it is a no-no because of the lack of type approval here in Australia. And for my overseas viewers, yes, things over here are that difficult. They definitely can be. But certainly, I was having a look before, and nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I was actually seeing up to about 35 watts on this output. So yeah, I won't go through what the ABCD does. I think everybody can work that out for themselves. But certainly, you know what? I do want to check something. That what I was wanting to check, and I thought, well, I suppose really you need to know what it does. On dummy load, A is 26500 is actually, if I go to channel 1, let's have a look. Where's it go down to? Okay, yeah, let's do it this way. It's actually locking at 26065. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. With 17 watts of AM peak power there. So that's A. When I flick it over to B here, That's going to give us 26,500, so around the New Zealand frequencies there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very good power broadbanding on this thing. If I was C, will just be normal 1 to 40. D, channel 41. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the higher channel now. It's a channel 40. Now the thing that interested me about this radio, and I just wish they'd gone a bit further, I'm trying to give a good example of, maybe if I go to E, so I'm on E here, trying to give a good example of what could be a problem. Let's have a look here. Right, hang on, we're close to a problem. Okay, there's one, right there. You know, 27,880, and I know Marine has gone VHF and there's not much, or as much use on HF these days, but right now, I'm a few kcs away. If I turn that slide, I bet you on this, the other way, I'll be right. Let's have a look. Yeah, look at that. I'm so close to a Marine frequency, it's just not funny. This is why, you know, I do say to people, you know, do need to be very, very careful with these radios, you know, where you're transmitting. Now, the thing I did like about it, I'm going to pick up on a positive here. It did get itself into 28 megs, but not high enough. It needed an F and a G. It really did. I would have preferred, again, you know, 26,965 to 28,405. What am I saying? To 27,405. From here, whatever, up to 28 megs. Now, here's where you could have really excelled and said, right, CDE covers the rest of the 10 meter band because you've got FM for the repeaters on E. It could have been a really good design. Now, I know that's not what people wanted back in the day, and I'm talking to the converted and all that stuff. But anyway, let's see if this Roger Beep's any different to the last Roger Beep. It's worse. It's the slightest beep. Maybe I'll hear it more on sideband. Don't know. Hang on. No, it's the slightest Roger Beep. I wouldn't get excited about the Roger Beep. It's there. Don't get me wrong. I can just hear it, but yes. Anyway, all right. So that's the President Jackson, and this was the one that primarily, if you had to say which was more common, the Grant with similar, although the Grant only went sort of low, mid, high. This definitely has got a bit more range, and certainly both chassis seem to be broadbanded extremely well, surprisingly. The fact that I'm on 28,305, hang on, just go back to carrier here. One, two, three, four, five. Hello, 1, 2. It's making a liar out of me there. Let's have a look at this top end. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. Oh, and it's still got 20 odd watts out of. Okay, so it's still getting 20 odd watts at 28,300. It's not too bad actually. You know, of course, it's peaked right on the C version here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hello, 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 hello. All. These monitors on the 8924Cs, oh look, they're not too bad for power, but their peak readings can be a little bit low, to be honest. But I reckon this is doing around 30 odd watts, which is fine. It's very good actually for, you know, twin output, 2SC 1969 type styled output. Don't quote me on that. I need to double check a circuit what they used on the output, but they, as you saw from inside, they did have a twin rear on the final here, though. They are two finals, not a driver and a final, so it's quite a good design. All right, well, not much else to add about this fella. They're really, once again, one that a collector hopefully, you know, would like to put next to some of their other President gear. And you know, obviously they are deemed illegal here in Australia for use on an antenna, so you need to buy it with the collector sense, being the, you know, more the reasoning as to why you end up with one of these. But they are a beautiful radio, and I think that President outdid themselves in this era. They really did some fantastic things. All right, that's the President Jackson FM A B C D E and Roger Beep included. Very bad Roger Beep. Cheers, all the best.